and welcome to part 3 from our churchyard tour of St Margaret's Churchyard in Barking. And to start us off with this one, I take you one that's connections to my own family. Here he is. Now I've got Faulkner ancestors who were buried here. This man is through a cousin link of my family. So he's basically the great-grandson of my 5 times great-grandparents. My 5 times great-grandparents, their other daughter is my direct grandmother link to that ancestry, but this is a cousin link, and it's in memory of Robert Faulkner, who departed this life the 28th day of June 1886, and you can see that it's in the process of blistering. So pretty soon the rest of the inscription will be entirely gone. And if I move us around the side here, this is one like the one we saw earlier with skulls that was restored. This is one that's fell into disrepair and had to be taken down. Whether it will be restored or not, I don't know. But I thought this one would be of interest to Sam Tucker, because this person hailed from where she came from. And it's in memoriam Elizabeth, wife of George Morris of South Malton in Devon. It died June the 22nd, 1841, aged 59 years. Also the above named George Morris died October the 5th, 1871, aged 85 years. In loving memory of James Turner Moffat, who died August the 8th, 1881, aged 55 years. In the midst of life we are in death. Also Mary Ann, the widow of the above, who died March the 8th, 1892, aged 59 years. Some of the graves have become damaged over the years, either through accidents or vandalism. There was a spat of vandalism in this churchyard a few years back. That kind of explains some of that. In memory of George James, who died December the 20th, 1882, aged 53 years. Also Elizabeth Martha, wife of the above, who died December the 16th, 1878, aged 49 years. Obviously I can't cover absolutely everyone, but I will take you to ones that I think are of particular interest and with inscriptions that are still legible. In affectionate remembrance of Elizabeth, the beloved wife of the above, and this is the family grave of Edgar Martin of this parish. So she's the beloved wife of Edgar Martin, who died April the 24th, 1878, aged 51 years. And you've got Edgar Martin, who died suddenly who died suddenly in June the 21st, 1880, aged 52 years. Also have Ada Mary Martin, granddaughter of the above, and she died February the 12th, and her inscription from there on is pretty much worn away, but it looks like 1881. And then just below you've got Annie Elizabeth, daughter of the above, who died August the 14th, 1882, aged 21 years. And what I mean by blistering is this. Basically the stone blisters away eventually. And here's one of these interesting coffin shaped ones. There are a few of these in St Margaret's. The headstone, which would have been there, is completely gone now, but their footstone is MM 1800, MET 1858 and ET 1892. This one here is in remembrance of Sarah, the beloved wife of John Bissell, who died suddenly on the morning of her 51st birthday, 25th of September 1883. Also of John Tuck Bissell, eldest son of the above, died the 10th of August 1863, aged 7 years. Also Fanny, Sarah, George and Arthur, who died in their infancy. And you've got right at the bottom also of John Bissell, who died the 11th of January 1892, aged 63 years. Lord, all pitying Jesus blessed, grant them thy eternal rest. And this one here, it is quite a full grave, shall we say, because not only have you got inscriptions on that side, you've got them on this side too. The family grave of John and Mary Quash, sacred to the memory of John James Quash, son of the above, born the 3rd of May 1849, died 18th of June 1849, aged 6 weeks and 4 days. Also Emma Maria Quash, daughter of the above, born 20th of September 1859, died the 1st of August 1861, aged 1 year and 10 months. Also William Mills, uncle of the above, born 28th of January 1798, died the 21st of February 1865, aged 67 years. Also Maria Amelia Quash, daughter of the above, born the 29th of June 1865, died the 3rd of June 1866, aged 11 months and 4 days. Also an infant son, died February the 2nd 1870. And it's got see other side, which I shall oblige and do so. In loving memory of Mary Amelia Quash, who died the 2nd of July 1900, aged 79 years, and also of John Thomas Quash, who died the 20th of November 1902, aged 79 years. This one is sacred to the remembrance of Grace Edney Cotton, second beloved daughter of Henry and Eliza Cotton, baker. So that was her father's profession, a baker of this parish, who departed this life December the 13th, 1869, aged 8 years. You've got also Henry Cotton, who entered into rest March the 20th, 1914, aged 82 years. Also Eliza Cotton, his wife, who entered into rest January the 6th, 1918, aged 83 years. A lot of them are extremely worn away or blistered, like this one. And as I say, I can't unfortunately cover them all. I wish I could, but I've entered a lot of the graves from here onto findagrave.com. So if you go on Google or your preferred search engine and type in St Margaret's Barking, Find a Grave. It will take you to that and you'll see quite a few of the people. The family grave of R and M McAllister, in affectionate remembrance of Cecil Hugh McAllister, who departed this life January the 26th, 1885, aged 7 years. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. And also 4 other children who lie here. Teresa Love, who died September the 5th, 1867, aged 3 months. Albert Alexander, October the 10th, 1867, aged 3 years and 4 months. Robert Albert Love, October the 28th, 1868, aged 3 months. Robert Wolsey, August the 23rd, 1879, aged 10 months. Also Mary McAllister, mother of the above, who died November the 18th, 1898, in her 55th year. Also of George McAllister, who died the 18th of August 1907, aged 31 years. And also of Robert McAllister, husband and father of the above, who died the 17th of, and you can't see the month because it's completely worn away, 1917, in his 75th year. And here's one that piqued my interest, mostly because of what a balls up the stonemason made with the top inscription. And if you look, you have a job making head nor tail of that, because they've really nosed that up. But it's Mr. William Wall, but they've gone and put Edward over the William, or William over the Edward, so they've messed that one up quite a lot. So you can't even make out the second line. He died on March the 8th, 1863, aged 84 years, and the entire top inscription really has been messed up because they've put 84 months and then gone over it with years. Mrs. Mary Wall, who died April the 17th, 1881, aged 57 years, not lost but gone before. Also Julia Wall, daughter of the above, who died at Prescott, Lancashire, April the 20th, 1877, aged 22 years. Also of Nathan Wall, son of the above, who died April the 13th, 1881, aged 24 years. And also Hannah, daughter of the above, who died January the 10th, 1892, aged 32 years. So not a long-lived family. Another coffin shaped one here. Its inscription on the stone is entirely gone, but its footstone is DW 1861 and AW 1873. Sacred to the memory of Annie Harris, died 28th of October 1862, aged 2 years and 6 months. Also of Susanna, the beloved wife of Edward Harris, who died 7th of December 1876, aged 41 years. And also of Edward Harris, who died the 7th of February 1906, aged 74 years. Sacred to the memory of John White, who died the 31st of December 1862, aged 72 years. And this is one that was toppled not too many years ago. A tree came down here and a few of them unfortunately copped it when that came down. In loving memory of Florence Louisa Gellatly, Gellatly, who died December the 27th, 1879, aged 9 weeks. And here's another interesting one that piqued my interest. Erected by George Alexander, Calcutta, late of Dundee, Scotland, in memory of his dearly beloved wife, Jessie Ogg, of Leith in Scotland. She was married at Calcutta on the 29th of October 1868 and died suddenly at her father-in-law's house, Barking, Essex, on the eve of her return to Calcutta, the 5th of November 1870, aged 20 years and 16 days. The cup was bitter, the sting severe, to part with one we held so dear. Our loss was great, we'll not condemn, but trust in Christ to meet again. So that poor young woman was getting ready to go back out to Calcutta with her husband and died suddenly. And there are some names on the side. Sacred to the memory of Janet Taylor Ross, relict of George Ross, late of Dundee, died 12th of April 1879, aged 79 years and 6 months. Also of Catherine Ross Alexander, wife of John Alexander, died the 23rd of October 1879, aged 59 years and 10 months, in our father's house and many mansions. Got this one here. In affectionate remembrance of James Henry, eldest son of James and Mary Ann Cutmore, born January the 1st, 1876, died January the 30th, 1882. Of such is the kingdom of heaven. Also James Cutmore, father of the above, who died November the 17th, 1883, in his 37th year. So he giveth his beloved sleep. Sacred to the memory of Emily Littlefield, who died July the 15th, 1883, aged 26 years. Her end was peace. Also Anne, the beloved wife of it's very worn away, I'm afraid. James Martin Littlefield, and mother of the above, who died March the 2nd, 1891, aged 67 years. Prepare to meet thy God. And the wife there, Anne, the beloved wife of, and it's Benjamin Littlefield. It's hard to read because a lot of it's gone. Also Benjamin Littlefield, the beloved husband of the above, Anne Littlefield, and father of the above, who died January the 30th, 1892, aged 71 years. Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord. And if I take you over here and we walk up some stairs, walking towards the impressive chest tomb of Captain John Bennett Jr. You'll see this tree here with some stairs there. If you walk up the stairs, it will take you to the oldest shrine graves of all. This is the Saints' Chapel within Barking Abbey, and the tombs are accredited to St Ethelburga, St Hildolith, and there's another saint said to be buried there. So, a little bit about them, shall we now? And these 3 stones are attributed to 3 different female saints: Saint Ethelburga, Saint Hildolith, and St Wulfhilda. Good Anglo-Saxon names. And I'm going to discuss with you a little bit of the life of each of these saintly ladies. So firstly, to St Ethelburga. St Ethelburga died after the year 685, and she was the first abbess of Barking Abbey and sister to St Erkenwald, Bishop of London, and he founded Barking Abbey for his sister while founding Chertsey Abbey for himself. The year of Ethelburga's death is uncertain, though she is believed to have died on the 11th of October, which is her feast day. And here you're seeing an artist's reconstruction of what the Anglo-Saxon abbey at Barking likely would have looked like. And now I'm going to tell you of just some of the miracles that were attributed to St Ethelburga. While building Barking Abbey, a beam was found to be too short, and Ethelburga and Erkenwald are said to have miraculously lengthened it to the correct dimensions. A few days before St Ethelburga's death, Tortgith, a nun at Barking who would also later become a saint, saw a figure being drawn up to heaven by cords brighter than gold. Ethelburga's relics, her bones, were translated within Barking Abbey several times over the centuries. During the translation or moving of Ethelburga's relics by Hildolith, a brightness of heavenly light and a fragrancy of wonderful sweetness of flowers and spices is said to have been perceived throughout the whole abbey. And that's a little of the life of St Ethelburga. And on to our next saintly lady, who was Ethelburga's successor, St Hildolith. Ethelburga was succeeded as abbess by St Hildolith, who certainly held the position by the year 709, and she was recruited by St Erkenwald to teach his sister Ethelburga, and Hildolith is said to have lived to an extreme old age. Very little is known of her life. However, she is known to history mainly through the hagiography of the Sekgun manuscript and the life of St Hildolith, written in 1087 by the medieval Benedictine hagiographical writer Gosselin. The date of St Hildolith's death is uncertain, but the Venerable Bede speaks of Hildolith's long rule and her translation of the bones of saints into the Abbey Church of St Mary's, and of the miraculous cure of a blind man which took place in her time. And that's St Hildolith covered. And on to our last but most certainly not least, next saintly lady, St Wulfhilda. Wulfhilda was the daughter of a Wessex nobleman named Wulfhelm. She was raised and educated by the Benedictine nuns at Wilton Abbey, and joined their community when she came of age. In around the year 970 she was appointed as abbess of Barking Abbey by Edgar the Peaceful, most likely to repent for his lustful pursuit of her. Gosselin also described Wulfhilda's service to her followers, which he compared to the qualities of a humble, attentive and nurturing mother, and those services included drawing water, gathering wood, kindling fires, preparing provisions, distributing clothes, and bathing her sisters with her own hands. Under Wulfhilda's leadership, the monastery flourished greatly and expanded. Wulfhilda herself donated 20 villages to the abbey at Barking and established another monastery at Halton in Kent. She died in circa 996 and was buried within the abbey with the two other saints, Hildeliff and Ethelberga. According to Gosselin, her veneration was widespread and long-lasting. And those are the lives of the three saints of Barking. And we're going to be carrying on with our tour now, back in the churchyard. There we are, that's us finished with our look in the Saints' Chapel. And on October the 11th, which is just a few days away, is the feast day of St Ethelberga. And if you walk around this way, you will find that most of the inscriptions on the tombstones have unfortunately long since worn away. But in amongst them, if I can find the right one, yes, here we are. Here lieth the body of Elizabeth Day, who departed this life the 20th day of February 1685, aged 72 years. And I can't find no connection between them, but it seems interesting that Elizabeth Day is buried just a few graves behind Daniel Day, the founder of Fairlop Fair. So I do wonder if there is a connection between the two of them. And this is another potential family history mystery, although I don't think that she's one of our lot. Now, at the time in Barking, I'm talking 18th century to 19th century, the Lee family were my direct ancestors and their cousin and brother links and such like, and their surname was spelled L-E-E. But if you go to the Monumental Inscriptions book, which is really handy, it was done in 1932, and it listed and mapped out on a map every single grave in this churchyard with a still legible inscription. In this one, that's also coffin shaped, is buried an Anne Lee, and she died in 1786 in her 67th year of her age, but her name is spelled L-E-A. And I'll be honest, most of my ancestors, my Lee ancestors who came from Barking side, they were poor farm labourers who most certainly couldn't have afforded a private grave and a very fine tombstone right next to the churchyard, to the church door. But I do wonder, as my family was the only Lees in the parish at the time, is she connected? I mean, their burials, in the burial book, it's of this parish, which Barkingside belonged to this parish, although it's quite a distance away. It didn't get its own church until later on. She's also of this parish, but I wonder, is she one of ours? It does make me wonder. Just over there is Anne Young, who we've already covered, who died in 1689, aged 16 years. And the historical research aspect of these is really interesting when you start looking into them. That one has lost its inscription, unfortunately. In loving memory of my dear parents, James Brown, who fell asleep in Jesus, October the 16th, 1883, aged 64 years, forever with the Lord. Also Elizabeth, wife of the above, who entered into rest May the 2nd, 1898, aged 75 years, until the day break and the shadows flee away. We shall sleep, but not forever, in the long and silent grave. Blessed be the Lord that taketh, blessed be the Lord that gave. And erected by Amelia Ann, daughter of the above. And this is one that is also in the process of blistering away. Lost quite a bit of its bottom inscription. But the family grave of Mr. Samuel Alton, sacred to the memory of Charles Spencer. It's Alban, sorry, not Alton, Alban. Charles Spencer Alban died the 12th of February 1865, aged 1 year and 7 months. Also Sarah Maria Alban, mother of the above, who died the 4th of May 1866, aged 42 years. Also Sarah Ann, second wife of the above named, so it's be Samuel Alban's second wife. He's got both his wives buried in the same grave. Second wife of the above, who died the 7th of January 1873, aged 39 years. And then you've got also Samuel Alban, who died, and his inscription, I'm afraid, has completely worn away. So that's it for this part. You'll join me, if you're interested, for the next part.